Hey guys, Dr. Fongod here. Today I want to talk about the one activity that I believe if everybody does, they will have great success in their weight loss journey. All right. So this activity is going to be sleep. Sleep is one of those things that I see a lot of clients and patients struggle with because they don't understand the correlation between poor sleep and weight loss, right? And their weight loss struggles, why they're not able to lose the weight. So let's talk a little bit about why getting enough sleep is going to be crucial for having weight loss success. And I'm going to be telling you this as somebody who has dealt with chronic sleep deprivation as a physician, and I'll share a little bit about how that affected me and why I'm such a big proponent for sleep. So before I talk about why sleep is an issue, personally, one of the issues that I have with sleep deprivation is that it increases my appetite. Okay. And so what happens when you don't get enough sleep is your body is going to be naturally stressed out. Okay. And if there's one thing that we don't want our body to be, is we don't want our body to be stressed out. So when you don't get enough sleep, your cortisol levels, which is the hormone that is part of your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight nervous system, your cortisol levels are going to increase. And when your cortisol levels increase, your body is thinking that, you're stressed, and so you need energy, which is going to be food, to help you get through the day, right? And so what happens is your body is going to naturally make you hungrier. So your ghrelin is going to get activated. And when it does make you hungry, it's not going to make you want to eat foods that are necessarily healthy. It's going to make you want to eat foods that are easy to break down. So these are going to be sugary foods, simple carbohydrates, processed foods. Sorry about that. And so once you eat these foods, typically then you have a tendency to crave similar foods. Those foods tend to be quite palatable and will lead to an increase in dopamine. And so now you've had a start with cortisol, and now dopamine is involved, and it can lead to binge eating tendencies, okay? So you can quickly go from just one night of bad sleep to almost 2 weeks of eating unhealthy food just because of that one night, right? Because it creates a cascade. You have cortisol that's released. Cortisol is going to lead to ghrelin increase. Ghrelin is going to make you eat junk food. The junk food is going to give you a dopamine hit. You're going to want more dopamine, and that leads to you eating similar foods to get that hit, but you don't get that hit. And before you know it, you have eaten more calories throughout the day than is actually necessary for you, and you're not going to be satiated, because I wouldn't call them empty calories, but they didn't do much for you, right? And so eating those foods has other side effects that we can talk about in the next video, which is going to be focusing on gut health. But you can see how when you increase your cortisol just from like maybe one night of not getting enough sleep, it can lead to a cascade of events that will cause you to have an increase in the amount of calories that you're eating, not necessarily between that one day, but it can lead to a cascade of bad or poor eating habits for a good 2 weeks, right? So you could be like, I'm eating healthy, everything's going well, and then you have one bad day, and then all of a sudden it's almost like your self-control is gone. And it's because you don't have control anymore. Your brain has kind of taken over. And so this is one of the reasons why sleep is so important. Now, it's not going to be the case for everybody. Everybody has different things that trigger their ghrelin, but for a lot of people, sleep is going to be a huge issue. And so you want to make sure that you curb your appetite, right? You want to eat the amount of food that is necessary for your body to function, but you don't want to go over, and you will go over if ghrelin is involved, and you won't have control over it. So the thing that you have control in this situation is sleep. So it's going to be really important to make sure that you get enough sleep. It could be between 7 to 10 hours, typically for women, is sufficient. And so if you start your day thinking about the sleep part, you're going to be much better off in terms of how you go about with your habits and how you do things when you're thinking about weight loss. Okay, so first action step is just to plan and schedule your sleep. I know that sounds ridiculous, but you want to do that. Okay, so the other reason why not getting enough sleep is problematic is because it will cause problems such as inflammation in the body. Again, it all goes back to cortisol. When you have high cortisol levels, that can affect insulin signaling in the body. And when insulin signaling is affected, you can have insulin resistance. And insulin resistance can cause a whole cascade of different issues, from hormonal imbalance to, where am I going with this? Okay. So it can cause hormonal imbalance. I was talking about inflammation. And it can lead to inflammation, because what happens when you get all these excess calories, they need to be stored somewhere. And a lot of times it will get stored in your fat cells. And as your fat cells get bigger, they tend to have a harder time getting blood from the vessels for the fat cells to grow. And so when those fat cells potentially die, they release toxins or cytokines, which cause inflammation in the body. Now, the inflammation is minuscule, so we call it chronic low levels of inflammation. But if you chronically have this inflammation in your body, that can cause havoc down the line. It could activate autoimmune disorders. It can lead to more insulin resistance. It can lead to potentially early stages of cancer. So you don't want to have fat cell death. So you don't want your fat cells to get big. And so part of that has to do with insulin, right? And if you keep insulin low, you don't have these problems. But if you have high cortisol, the tendency is going to be to eat foods that are going to increase your insulin levels. And so that creates a cascade of issues: insulin resistance, inflammation, all of that. Okay, and so another thing that I want to talk about that ties sleep with cortisol is going to be magnesium. Magnesium is a mineral that is very important in the function of almost all cells in the body. And unfortunately, when your stress levels are high, your cortisol is going to basically eat up all the magnesium in your body. Not all of it, but it will take up a lot of that. And so if you have a deficiency in magnesium, then that also then leads to high cortisol, because now you don't have enough of the necessary building blocks for producing energy in the body. And so then your cortisol levels go up, and then there's more demand for magnesium, and that really directly can affect your sleep. And so it's almost like a vicious cycle where you lack sleep. That leads to cortisol, and then cortisol leads to deficiency in magnesium, which leads to more cortisol increase, and it's just like a vicious cycle. So one of the things that I usually recommend to my clients and my patients who are struggling with weight loss is to make sure that they're supplementing with magnesium. This will help you with, sleep quality, and also it will help with reducing the cortisol levels as well. I like magnesium glycinate. You can also use magnesium threonate or citrate. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're supplementing with magnesium, that's going to be very beneficial for you. Okay, so how much sleep should you get? I recommend at least 7 hours of sleep. Personally, I do 8 hours. For some women, it could be 9 or 10, especially if you're on your menstrual cycle. But like I said before, make sure that sleep the sleep time is protected. And so let's say, for example, you protect 8 hours for sleep, then you know how you're dealing with the rest of the 16 hours in the day, right? But you have to protect that just to help with all the things that we listed, but I didn't even mention the importance of sleep and mental health. If you don't get enough sleep chronically over a period of time, it will affect your mental health. It can lead to depression, anxiety, psychosis even. And if you don't sleep for, I think, 7 days straight, you will die. Okay, so sleep is critical for your body's function. All right. So if you're somebody who is struggling with weight loss and you're looking for someone who can help you create a personalized plan to help you with weight loss, then I will leave a link below for you to book a call, and I would love to help you with your weight loss journey. All right. I hope you like this video. Maybe on the next video, I will talk a little bit about gut health and how that relates to weight loss. Let me know what your thoughts are below, or what type of videos that you would like to see from me. But I will be talking mainly about weight loss on this channel. So stay tuned for that, and leave all of your questions below, and I would love to help you answer those. All right, I hope you have a great day. I will see you on the next video. Bye.